Hello, welcome to Ocean Yummy's channel. So today, black cake seems to be my thing because I want to look into the characters a little more. Maybe I don't know if you want to deep dive with me on that. Um, each character has a different dilemma. Each character, different struggle, different strife. I think the one I more want to go to, I think it's Ellen, not Elena. Let me see if we can find. I think it's Eleanor. Let me see. Oh, where's the rest of the words? Oh, okay. Can't go to that one. Let me see. Let me see. See, sorry, it's taken me long to find some of the stuff because I want to find Eleanor. I want to find Eleanor. Eleanor's not on here. Why is she not on here? Well, they mostly focus on Coventina more. Now, as you see on the tab, I put up Coventina, who Coventina or Colby was named after. Coventina, let me see if I can pull it up on my pen. Coventina is a name of a goddess of purification. Let me see if we can get it. Okay, let me see if we can get it. Coventina. Let's see. There's so much history. I'm gonna put up another one to do with the nurses because the nurses thing is important. Comatina was a Roman British goddess of wheels and springs. She is known for a multitude of inceptions at one site in Northumberland, England. An area surrounded a well-being in wall. It is possible that other depictions of two from Hispania are one referred to Coventina, but this is disputed. But she is a goddess of purification, and I think the characters show that as honest, like because by telling her children the truth. So Coventina, the character, Elena Brandt. Let me see if I can get it because I really want to talk about Elena. Because Elena, the way because she was very much she's very much she was the one who helps Coventina go to Scotland. Are they going to show Coventina? Are they going to refer to her? Why they don't refer to her? Why don't they refer to her? So they mostly focus on who killed Little Man. Now, Little Man is the Dawn in the story. But anyways, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stick to what I'm gonna do first and foremost. I will stick to the the the, the characters. Okay. So there's Eleanor Brunt Bennett, Bunny, James Everett. Oh, sorry, Rupert Everett. No, James Everett, Charles Gibbs, Brett Bennett, Mabel Martin, Coventina, Benny Bennett. Mabel is the adopted child in the story, which I feel is of major importance in this. Let me see if they talk about it. See, they never talk about much. So Mabel Martin was conceived out of the R word by one of Covey's bosses, and Covey had to give her up for adoption, which at first she was willing to do. She was willing to do it at first, but then she changed her mind. Not only that, this show shows a lot of mixes. So it shows. Let me see if they're gonna list it here. Otherwise, I'll have to play it. Oh yeah, see, Tales of Family Secrets centers the Caribbean of the diaspora. We'll get back to that in a minute. Let me see. It's not gonna say what it's gonna say. Oh my days. Okay. I didn't want to tell the audience in the episode on one that they have a sister, because when you're sitting and you're reading a book, you are waiting for them to be like, okay, find the sister. You can sort of suspended your disbelief, but when you are watching two people on screen, you're going to be like, where's the sister? They don't call. That's meaning, it's not even getting to the point. Oh my word, why doesn't it get to the point? Where's Maple's part? Okay, but so this is the part about Mabel, but her story, Mabel Martin, we've barely scratched the surface of her journey in season 1. Her story is so rich. I'm excited to give it this due to proper season 2. Oh, she's going to be season 2. So Mabel Martin was conceived in trauma. So Coventina wanted to keep her daughter, but it was too late because she had to deal with a religious order to give the baby a better life if they housed her while she carried the pregnancy. Mabel's existence doesn't come about. Covey doesn't find her until she has grown into an adult, white passing woman doing well for herself in the world of food. One way to read the book is the lovely family drama. There's a little murder mystery in there, and you sort of forget about it for a while, then you come back to it. So that is the family secret. Well, her secret. That's her secret. Gosh, they don't really talk about Mabel much, do they? Gosh. Anyways, let me put Mabel on the screen so you can see her. They don't talk about Mabel much. They talk about Colby, they talk about Coventina. They don't even talk about Eleanor. And Eleanor is also a key one in the story, because Eleanor is the one in an accident. There's an accident that happens on the way to Scotland, and that's how Covey covers or hides herself by being Eleanor Bennett. Now, Eleanor Bennett was also an innocent person in all of this. Mabel is also an innocent character in all of this. Mabel, like I said, when Mabel finds out who her mother is and how she was conceived, she is so, like, shocked. Shock is the word. She's very shocked. She can't believe what she's hearing at this point. She literally gets up and says, okay, I've got to go. She comes out, and what's her name? Bunny, the lady in the green, goes after her. So Byron says, like, why? Okay, all right, let's just leave it. I mean, like, we're listening to the tapes because there's some messages what the mum left them and there was one that was supposed to be listed by all three of the children. Now, Covey refers to Mabel as her firstborn. She said, I'm so glad all my children is together to listen to this message. Right, that's how she starts it. She says, Mabel, I'm going to tell you the story of how you came to be about. So she goes into telling Mabel about her story. Right, Mabel's story. At first, Coventina is very much detached from the baby. At first, she's very detached, which happens when you've been through grape. You know what I mean? Is they're like, some women choose to detach themselves from the child by all means necessary. Now, Covey does this, and there's also another young lady that is there. So the young lady's like literally saying to her, well, like, me and I can't remember the guy's name, right? Like, we're gonna raise our son and it's gonna be like this, like in this way. But Covey turns to the girl, High Passion Lisa. Covey turns to the girl, and she said to her, I'm just trying to get through this at this point. I'm just trying to get through my pregnancy. I've got to do whatever I've got to do to get through this pregnancy. I'm going to detach myself away from this baby that I am carrying in my body, right? So the girl, because this is the girl who friends Covey in the beginning when she reaches, it seems to be like a mother and baby hostel. It's a place where they send the bad girls, basically. It's like it's not a boarding school, but it's where they work. Now, I have spoken about places like this in the past because there is a history of these places, right? There were boarding places for women who are seen, or girls who are seen as bad, who's pregnant, and their parents will send them to these places. In these places, they would wash, they would do manual labor, washing, ironing, whatever they got to do, and they just about get paid just about enough to live, because that is how they pay to be inside of the space where they at, right? So, Covey decided, I'm not going to accept this baby no matter what. I'm not accepting this baby no matter what. And obviously, because she didn't know she was pregnant at the time, she just thought, oh yeah, right, it's just a dizzy spell. Because like she said that how these are the things was spoken about on the island of certain stuff, right? She said, I can't remember the words exactly, but it was spoken on the island and it was seen as something bad, right? But in London, it's the same thing, you know what I mean? So anyway, they're sent to this place of boarding where they have the babies, right? So Covey's working hard, you know what I mean? Because Covey is a hard worker. She's a hard working girl. That's what her father has installed in her. And this is the most important thing about the show. It shows what this is installed in her as a person. And she also speaks about her mother leaving her at a certain age as well, which is another live, which I would have to do later on, because even that is a separate thing. And this is the things what people do not talk about. Now, Mabel, who's on the screen, right, have a zeal for spices and, like I said, as determined indigenous cooking, Caribbean diaspora food, right? She's unbeknownst to her, she didn't even know her lineage at this time. Mabel, like I says, Mabel finds out in a way. But anyways, I know I'm going all over the place. I'll try and keep to track. I think I have to start writing things down so I can keep to track to what I'm talking about. So Coffee's in the boarding house and whatever. She's moving, she's doing, she's cleaning, she's doing this, she's doing that, she's doing this, until one day she's about to go up the steps and she falls, but she don't fall on the belly, she falls on her back, and she finds a little bit of blood. Now, in her mind, I would think she was panicking. Is the baby all right? Is the baby okay? Is the baby okay? She started connecting with her child. She started connecting with the baby, right? So they put her on bed rest, and the young lady that she makes friends with in that boarding school, in that boarding place, goes into labor. I think couple like 3 episodes down. I can't remember how many episodes down. So because it's such a strange pain, you know, because some of them is young, they don't know what childbearing pain is. So she feels the pain, and Colby gets up and she calls the nuns to come and help her. And then afterwards, she comes back. The girl is pale in her face and detached, very detached from reality, right, at this point, because it must have been a very dramatic labor, I should think, even though they didn't show it, but I will say she must have been for a very dramatic pregnancy, a very dramatic labor. So Colby said to her, "Are you okay? How's the baby? How is she? How is she? How is she? How is she? How is she?" And the girl, very discombobulated, discoordinated, or whatever you want to call it. She sort of turns. I think she says a couple of things, and then she lies down in the bed. Anyway, so the next day, Colby gets up and she says, "So how's the baby? What did you have? What did you have? What did you have?" She says, "It's a girl." Then she says, "A boy. It's a boy or a girl?" She said, "Okay." And then so the nuns have them on a feeding schedule. So every time the baby cried, the nuns come and collect them and they go and feed the baby. So the following day, I think it is, Colby goes into labor herself, right? And then when she's having the baby, right, whereas like they will cover the baby. Oh no, even before that, because she, like when you go through pregnancy, you'll check the baby heartbeat, they check the size of the baby, they check how big the baby is. So the nurse explains to her, well, the baby's about this big, the size of this. And Colby's not eating. At the time, she wasn't eating properly. She said every time she eats, she throw up. And it does have pregnancies like that, where every time you eat, you throw up. Every time you eat, you throw up. You can't keep nothing down. You know what I mean? So the nurse says to her, "Look, right, you got to try to eat something to nourish yourself and this baby, because when the baby comes, you got to have strength to push the baby out." So Coffee finally is able to eat like little apple, little something, and this is before she drops down the stairs, basically. So anyway, later on, like, we reel back to the time now, to the labor of Mabel. So Mabel longing to come into the world, right? So Mabel, so then she goes into the labor, and so they're saying to her, you can't see as you're pushing the baby out. She says, "I want to see my baby. I want to see my baby," and she's pushing, she's in the pain, and she's pushing the baby out. And then Mabel comes, and then, and so they put her to suckle on her. And then I know I'm telling half of the story. I know. You could tell me to stop. And then afterwards, they take her, like, they clean up the baby and clean up her. I think she has a little rest or whatever, and then they take her. So the next day, obviously, is feeding schedules. So her and the other young ladies in the place, like where they, where they feed the babies. So as they're picking up Mabel as a baby, they say, oh, a couple's gonna want her because, like, look at that hair. Oh, she can pass, you know what I mean? Because she's white passing, obviously. And then, so the young lady's struggling to breastfeed the baby. She's struggling. The baby's crying. Now, Mabel is just, she's just a happy baby. She's very contented and stuff like that. And so Colby's telling her to try feed the baby. Anyway, when Colby finished feeding the baby, Colby, go look for the girl. And the girl's words was to her, but you said to how we have to get true. We have to get true to the other end. And when she goes, right, like, that's it, you know what I mean? That's it. Like, so the nun goes to her, sooner or later you're going to leave here, and so the next scene now, right, later on now, you see them going to go feed the baby. The girl's struggling again. So when the girl walks to, like, it seems like the room where they do the feeding, right, Corvina's zeal to keep the child kicks in, like, seemed like a wave. Something just comes over her. So Corvina's looking at the door, and Corvina decides to take a chance and run with the baby. So she's walking down the hallway now, walking quick at the baby. And then one of the nuns buck up on her. The nuns say, where you going? She says. So then they come to take the baby, right? So the next time now for her to feed, they don't call her. So Corvina comes into the room and she says, how could you call me to feed the baby and whatever. So, and the adoptive parents come for her. The adoptive parents is the one that you see later on, where, like, the baby, the adult baby talks to the adoptive parents. So then later on, now the adoptive parents take the child, and Corvina's running after after them to stop them from adopting. She said, I changed my mind. I didn't know what I was signing. I didn't, because they have to sign off. They have to sign away their children. Plus, not only that, the nuns was making money at that time on adopted children. So it's one of those type of situations. Anyways, now the story is told, and all three of the children is sitting together. That's Mabel, Bunny, and Byron are sitting together when they hear the story of Mabel and how she came into the world and how she was conceived and how she became adopted. Now, we do hear about these adoptions going on. I think there's one adoption story I'm supposed to do as well. So I will take a look at that, because I know there's certain ones who's been through adoption as well. So I will deal with it very sensitively. So later on, there is one, I think Mabel gets a USB now, where her mother is telling her story, the rest of the story, right? Now, bear in mind, it's like Mabel already knew she probably was different anyway, because of the stuff she was into anyway, the way she looked at things anyways. It's only when she gets called out on seem like a TV something, and then that's when it's like the story all comes together. Now, the irony of it all is the unity of the children, the three children plus the two plus the adopted child. And Bunny is a very sensitive one as well out of the three of them, right? Because Bunny knows what's it like like when you walk away, that someone must run after you, and that's one of the things I think they show that very well in this adaptation, because they can call it frictional, but I know some people's probably been through some of these things and they haven't spoken about it. So Mabel, who also has a story herself of Teresa, why she hasn't spoke to her son or told her son certain stuff. She also has a secret to do with her marriage to her son's father, which probably they say it might come out in season 2, but I don't know why they cancelled it, because it would have been good to find out what happened to Mabel and her backstory, because we already know about Byron and we already know about Bonnie, and Mabel as well. Even how Covina refers to her, she says, my firstborn, my first baby. That's how she refers to her. She said you was always loved. It was always loved, you know. Even the fact is that Covina kept her eye over her child as she grown up. She was phoning and she kept in touch with wherever Mabel was. Speaks volumes of a mother, because the nurturing side of that mother shows through in this adaptation. Because when the secrets part comes out, you know, sometimes it's not her who's telling the children, oh, you have to be this way. Sometimes it was Gibbs who's saying, well, you have to be this way, this way, this way, this way, which happens in most West Indian homes, right? Oops. Oh, I lost the picture. Oh, my word, I lost the picture. Right, so, hold on. I lost my picture. Anyways, I'm going to try and go back to my picture. Oh. I lost my picture. Anyways, so the children bond on such a deep level. You know what I'm saying? And if you do get a chance to see or read the book, The Black Cake, I think the book is quite intriguing, basically. I think the book itself, I mean, how these children come to be known together, come to be part of something, is great. Now, the other characters, which I do need to get to, I don't think they talk about Little Man. I don't think Little Man is in. They don't even explain who Little Man is. Little Man is the Don of that area where Covina grow up. Right? He runs that area where Covina grows up. Like, he's been watching Covina for a very long time. A very long time. Is when the dad loses a gambling debt to which, right, with the loans the dad takes out, that Covina seemed like she's sold to Litterman, right? Now Litterman's been crawling and creeping and round her anyway. And it's quite worrying that at one part I thought something was gonna happen, to be honest. Where he comes into the house where she's listening to ska music and then he just creeps up on her. So Little Man has been watching Covina for a very long time, until when I think the father Ling loses, you know, gambling and stuff, and that he's debted to Little Man, right? And this is how the wedding comes into play, and this is how the character decides that she has that you know, she just got to smile through it. So Little Man says to the daddy now, you know, if you can't pay your debts, there's other ways to pay your debts. So Ling goes, but she's only 16. You know what I mean? She's 16, she's young. Little goes, that doesn't make no difference, you know? Like, you know, and I think Ling refers to her as because because she speaks up, she speaks her mind. So Little Man says, well, maybe she needs a husband to control her. Now, Little Man in all of this is a very creepy character, I will say, by a long shot. Right? It's like you can't have your daughter around him. He seems one of those. And his two brothers, well, the two brothers in the two characters, who is his brothers, we never find out their names. I can't remember whether they say their names or not. But is when she's getting ready to get married, Kavina just standing there looking at herself in the wedding dress and the headdress, and you know, she looks pretty, and her friend comes and gives her the necklace from her mum. Now the mother is a whole nother story altogether by itself. That is another whole different situation by itself, right? But it's also the woman who also who's also the maid who helps them, or the helper, or whatever you want to call her, who's in the house with Corvina and her father. She is very much a prominent figure, a mother-like figure in the adaptation, because you see her a lot. You see Bunny a lot, who is her friend, and you see the lady who is the one who helps. I think she's also her mother's best friend. So it's like a circular motion in effect happening. In all the characters, there's also a cycle going on with the daughter, the son, and Mabel even. There's a cycle there, definitely, for sure. Right? Now Byron, let me see if I remember his Byron. Or did I talk about Byron before? I can't remember. Byron. He's not. Actually, not even Byron. Byron is like his father in so many ways. It's so amazing to watch. Right? Byron reasons like his father. He thinks like his father. He moves like his father. Hi, Sonia. He reasons like his father in so many ways. You say, wow. Even I was like, oh my God, he's just like his father. Right, Byron also has, like I said, a partner, a lady friend, as they call it in West, a lady friend. Right, she's trying to tell him now he needs to get some balls, basically, in a nutshell. Byron is underwater. I think he deals with underwater and different stuff, and he wants to take it a little further. He wants to take things further, and he wants to deal with youths, and he wants to do a whole lot of stuff. But they have him like a token black man on their company. So the lady says to him, look, you are not the man you're not the one that I fall in love with. You need to get some balls. She kind of says it like that, but in a different way. She says it in a nicer way, basically. And he says, I think he answers her back, and then I think he doesn't run after her, which is a shame, right? But later on, the two do meet again later on, because she turns up again. The next time we see her is when Byron speaks his mind on a conference, and he said that how when you're in certain societies or certain places, he said that how, right, it's like they want to keep you there like a token. He said that how I was trying to put out that people like me so we can be in certain spaces. But then obviously when you're in certain spaces, they don't want you to be seen. They don't want you to be heard. Right? They want you to be the dog's body. You do all the research and all the this and that, and they get all the acknowledgement. You get none. And it so happened that how they put it on social media, and it goes back to his lady friend, right? And she says, "Man, I didn't even know you have it in you." She said, "What happened?" But Byron also goes through another phase of his life where, like I said, where like he stands up for his sister, and he, the police stop or whatever. Well, not even the police stop. He speaks of the police stop, like being stopped by the police in America and all this, and he stands for his sister. He almost beats the man out of his life. You know what I mean? Man, I swear, Bonnie's ex-boyfriend must have seen God the way he beat him, right? And then I think people's filming and the police pull up and they have their arms drawn, right? And it's filmed as well, social media. And so Byron had to sit in the jail for like, I think it's a couple of days or a night, and he gets bailed out. His sister bails him out, and there obviously he looks at her, and he says, "Okay." This is why he says, "Okay, okay, okay, okay." Like there's been a lot, because Byron was the one who was at the funeral of his father. Him and his mother was at the funeral of his father, and like Byron's always been calling Bunny at certain times, like certain times he wanted her to be there, she was not there, due to family dispute, all that stuff. But he said that, and right. So the story continues. There is so many characters that comes surfaces to this story called The Black Cake. Because The Black Cake, like I said, it also bears a great place in the story. And I know I'm going on and on and on and on and on about Black Cake. You know why I'm going on and on and on about it? Because I see that there is links to certain stuff. There's certain stuff that is linked to what it is. And I don't know whether I can put up them reading the story, or maybe I can put up them reading the story, the characters, especially Covina. Let's see if we can get Covina up. The lady who plays Covina, because she's very much. Let me see if I can do it. You see her reading the book, because it might not let me show it. Let me see if I can get one with Mia Isaac herself. Ah, okay. I did see her anyway. Let me go up. Now, the actress herself, like I said, Mia Isaac, because there's two of them who actually plays the role of Covina or Eleanor Bennett. Okay, there's two. Right, there's the young version and there's the old version. So this one's the young version. I'm gonna put her up because I want you guys to understand, to see. The actress is very good. I mean, all the acting's good. I'm not even gonna say she alone is. Well, they're so good, all of them. Did I go to the wrong one? Yes. So this is May Isaac, I think her name is. I think I said her name right, because you know me, I'm terrible how to say names.
Idea of even getting the role was daunting, and the thousands of other girls that were auditioning, and I couldn't even believe that I'd made it to the final round of callbacks. And then once I'd gotten the role, I realized that I had a show that I was going to be the lead of, and I've never done that before, so that was a new experience for me. And I booked the role when I was 17 years old, and I couldn't believe that I was going to have so much to carry.
What are you doing? Okay, let me take care of this. And Sister Madeline, you have to stop this, please. Everything is fine. Give her to me. That's my baby.
You know, Covey has to endure a lot, and she experiences some things that I've been so lucky that I haven't even had to think about in my life. She's failed by so many people in her life. She's failed by her parents, and she's failed by all of the adults that surround her as a kid, and she has to grow up really quickly. But what I love about Covey is that she is so resilient, and she doesn't lose sight of who she is. And at the end of her life, you know, we see this woman, but we can see Covey in this woman, and she's remained the same throughout her life. The fire inside her never died.
None of this makes sense. I mean, did Dad know any of this?
With the stress of all these secrets weighing on her, she must have felt so alone. For the rest of my life, I'm gonna keep looking over my shoulder.
What are you running from?
I mean, everybody has their own questions about the show. I think there are a lot of unanswered questions. One of the biggest ones being who actually did the murder. I think that's what everybody's wondering. And hopefully you'll find that out by the end of this season, but I can't say too much.
Want more entertainment news? Follow On the Red Carpet on social and subscribe on YouTube.
So you think you know Wix, but do you really?
And I like how she put it. You know what I mean? I like how she put the answer to the question. Yeah, you know, the secrets of family. You know, I mean, I cannot put that into more better words. There's a lot of secrets in families and stuff. All right, the characters are very much the reflection of certain Caribbean houses, you know. I'm trying to find the other ones. I spoke about Gibbs already, I think. Let me see if I can get more. Mr. Lynn's Covey's grandfather. Oh, they just did character thing here. Okay, that's not helpful. Yeah, I've been, when I've done on certain stuff, I like to look into who the characters are, because that is really important, to look at the characters and who they are, what they stand for, and all that stuff, you know. Okay, we've got the list of characters. All right. Which is what I really wanted. I was looking for in the first place. Couldn't even find it. So I'm going to put it up on screen so we can all see this. The list of characters, because I like to see who they are, you know. It's just one of those things when you come across a very good story, however. All right. So the main characters in the Black Cake, there's Covey, you know. So Covey, in the latter part of the 1960s, Mia Isaacs Covey was a runaway bride who suddenly disappeared on one of the beaches of Jamaica. Some have speculated that she may have died from drowning. It was later revealed that Covey was forced into a marriage with her supposed husband, leaving many to believe that she was on the run after unaliving him. All right. So then there's Bunny, her daughter. Bunny Brent is one of Eleanor's children, whom she left after dying from cancer. Benny is close to her family since she hasn't talked to them for 6 years, since she came out as bisexual during the Thanksgiving dinner. Then there's Eleanor Brandt. Eleanor Bennett is a widow who died from cancer. Shippo Chung plays the character. After her death, it was revealed that Eleanor left recording tapes to her children to learn more about the origin of their family. Then there's Byron, the son. Byron is Benny's brother and Eleanor's son. Byron is living off of the pressure of trying to become a high-achieving member of community, and the character ultimately becomes a scientist, but admits he does not feel fulfilled by his job. The irony of this character, his mom is a swimmer, right? She was a swimmer in her younger days, right? That's the irony of all of it. And funny enough, all of them always end up at water. All of them, literally. All the characters always end up near water. Some kind of water, right? So Byron is into, I would say, something to do with aqua, I think it's the aqua or something. And he tries to, he wants to be recognized, but he's never recognized. He's always put in second best, second space, second level, right? Not only is it a racial thing, it's a racial thing. First of all, it's a racial thing because all of the employers, all of the people that surround the scientists are white, and he's the only black face in all of this. So there is a racial element to this story as well, right? Because there's many twists and turns as well, which I forgot to say. Okay. Then there's Charles Mitch. So, portraying Eleanor's lawyer is Glenn Truman as the attorney Charles Mitch. After Eleanor's death, Mitch informed Benny and Byron about the recordings that their mother gave. The characters also dropped a bombshell that they have a half-sister. Okay, which is the one I've spoken about, Mabel. Mabel, the half-sister, right? But Charles is also he's like the family support. He's the family support as well, right? He is the one that he follows true with the wishes. He also has a story which shows Eleanor as the best friend, the loving friend, right? Where he gives a story of when his wife passed away, she phones him and she kind of shakes him out of his thing and tells him to put himself together. And, you know, she's a support system to Mitch, and Mitch is also a support system to the children as well in the story. Yeah. He's the one who not only passes the messages to the children, but he's also there. Like, he follows true of all of the mother's wishes to the letter. He don't compromise. He don't say, okay, let's do a little bit, let's do this. No, he keeps to the letter to which he was told to do for the mother, you know, so the children can know what they have and what is their rights or whatever, you know, what's left and all that. Then there's Bunny, who the other Bunny is named after, her daughter's named after. She's named after Corvina's best friend. So Lizrae Anderson plays Bunny Pringle, Covey's best friend in the 1950s. She grew up in the Caribbean. After learning about Covey's apparent death, it took a while before Bunny moved on. Once she got over the death of her friend, Bunny continued to train and become a distance swimmer, eventually moving to England when she was older. Now, Bunny's friend also had another love for her as well. Okay, so even though they speak of the sexual orientation before, but Covina said she's not into girls, you know what I mean? She makes it very clear to Bunny that she's not that type of person. And she loves Gibbs. She loves Gibbs, yeah? So Bunny is the one who knows her friend when Little Man dies. Bunny is the one who knows her friend is not the one who did it. Now, I'm not going to give away who killed Little Man, because if I give that away, I'll be telling too much. I don't want to tell too much. Bunny's the character who also brings everything together at the end, who tells the story of the ending of Little Man and how his demise happened, right? And Covina, or Eleanor, aka Eleanor, was watching her all through the years as she became the distance swimmer. She watched her all through the years, right? She even when the children Googles her, right, they see that how the mom was watching her as she made her achievements, you know, and that is true friendship. That is very true friendship in this story. Clarence Henry. So Anthony Mark Bowles, Clarence Little Man Henry, is a strict, violent business owner who has been causing trouble in the neighborhood. Henry was attracted to Covina, leading to him asking her hand for marriage. During the wedding, though, Henry suddenly died while Covina also disappeared. So this is the man of the hour. Even though he's dressed like this, because it must be in another film or something. Clarence, it was very horrible. Like I said, he was very creepy around her. Very creepy. And Clarence didn't like the fact that how Covina was with Gibbs. He didn't like it, right? So he wanted to put a spanner in the works by asking for her hand in marriage, in debt to him, to which Lynn owed him. Then there's Mabel Martin. So, you know, that's her story that I told earlier of Mabel Martin, the first daughter of Covina. You know, the firstborn. You know, I'm sure it's going to say the same thing I just said from earlier. All right. So, we're not going to read the beginning of what they said, but Mabel Martin is described as the Afro food guru, or whatever they call that, guru who wrote a book about the diaspora of food, which is what I said. Mabel helped explain the black cake, the titular black cake, its origins, helping viewers to understand its significance. Like I said, it's like she knew who she was from day one. And she's looking into diaspora and food. This woman knew who she was from before. She knew who she was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to go back into it again. You know, I'm not going to repeat what I just said all before. Then there's Pearl. Pearl This lady is a very the helper in the house. I think she's the helper in the house. She's the mother figure to Corvina. See, mother, she's the helper. She does the baking and the cooking. And then there's Gibbs. Remember, I was looking for Gibbs. I've been looking for Gibbs, his story, and I couldn't find Gibbs. This is Gibbs. This is Corvina's first love. Her first everything. The first boy that she was attracted to. He was a swimmer, and he also had ambitions as well. He had ambitions. Let me see what they put for him. Because the way they word it to me is all the fancy words, though, Let me see. So Gibbs is Corvina's childhood sweetheart. Gibbs is a surfer who fell in love with Corvina with the pair being inseparable during their younger years. However, factors such as Corvina's forced marriage with Little Man, Gibbs' duties as a student in South London set both of their paths apart. And in fact, the fact that they meet back up again later on says a lot, It's just like fate brought them back together. Lynn, her father, the gambling man, the one who starts everything, puts everything in motion to where Corvina ends up in London and everything else and all what happens. Lynn is the reason why she goes through what she goes through. Like, what I'm saying? He definitely did fail her. As the girl says, that is failed. She was failed. He failed her by a lot. Though he was always present as a father to her during swimming, he was present to her all the time. He'd be the one cheering her on as when she wins. He'd be the one who'd be comforting her. And especially when the wife leaves, he's there. He's the present parent. He's the one who is seen, at the races. He's that father. He's that one. And even his story as well is interesting as well. So the father, Lynn, to life, Simon Wing becomes Corvy's father, Lynn, to life in Black Cake. Raised by Chinese immigrants, Lynn inherited 2 small shops on the island, and he used them as his family's main source of income. Despite having a stable income, Lynn's gambling addictions lead to massive debt under his name. And this is where, he more or less, as is put in the story, he sells his daughter to Clarence, or Little Man, aka Little Man. He literally hands her over. You know what I mean? Right? But then later on, he realizes what he's done, and it doesn't really struck him until later on as they're walking down the aisle. Pearl as well also tells him off for certain behaviors, for his drinking and certain stuff. But like I said, Pearl is not only the helper, she's the mother. So the way they describe her on this doesn't really give her much of acknowledgement, because she's a lot more than a helper. She's a lot more than just Ling's housekeeper. Right, you know what I mean? She is the one, she's the mother, she's the advisor, she's everything in this. And she also tells him off too, right? James Everett. I think this is the character. I don't even say much about him. This is Maple's father. This is the man who raped Corvina, right? This is Maple's father, okay? And that's probably why they haven't written nothing underneath it, because he is really the reason why Maple was put was adopted in the first place. Otherwise, she would have been with her mother. But this is Maple's father. Mabel's father. Sorry, I'm saying Maple. Let me see who this is. I can't remember who this lady is. Oh, Miranda. Don't know who that is. Oh, these are the people that she was working with as well. But they're not important. To me, they're not important anyway. Oh yeah, this is Clarence's brother. I mean, they should have put him into the clothes of the show. I think it would have made it much better and more understandable. This is Clarence, Little Man's brother. One of Little Man's brother. They're like the henchmen, you know. They're the henchmen in the story. So, but they didn't put. I think they put. So Eleanor. I think the best part of it as well, I would say, is Eleanor's passing. You know, Eleanor's passing. It's like she finally was at rest. Her whole family had come together. They did the 9 nights. You know, they talk. Bunny, her friend, says that how the 9 nights is for you to talk about the person, which is true, and to put aside certain secrets and to speak certain secrets. She said, as she explains to the children, being the children is born in America. So Eleanor, like you see her, it's like she had like they said, she had cancer. You know what I mean? So you see her deteriorating, and like the black cake, she makes a black cake, and she puts a picture of her, Gibbs and Bunny in a bottle, in a jar, and puts it in the cake. And when the children comes together, they open up the cake, because she says to them, when you finish listening to my messages, then you go and you get the black cake for where it is, and then you all share it. But as they're trying to cut it, obviously you won't cut it because the jar's in the middle. And in the jar, there's a picture of her, Gibbs, and Bunny. And there is also a significant flower that is also grown to symbolize Mabel's existence, for how many years that Mabel was with the other family, and that is shown as well. Yeah. And then there's the 2 rings with Gibbs, a G for Gibbs, and I think and C for Covina. Right. And there is a significant part in the show where they go to see the body for the last time, and you know, where she's laid to rest at last, because it seems like all the secrets are out now. They all know what's going on, what's been happening, what is, you know, like I said, please go watch it. You know, me tell half the story, but it's okay. If you watch it, you'll see where I'm coming from, why all the characters, including Byron, Bonnie, everybody, how significant they are, because they all play their part in Covina's story. Eleanor, unfortunately, I wish they did show Eleanor as well, because Eleanor, right, in one part of the story, Covina goes, Eleanor will pass away. I was like, how's she going to pass away? Eleanor will pass away. That's how Covina drops it, or Coventina drops it. And I was like, how? So they're on a train to Scotland. I don't even know whether it's a real event that happened or not. I don't know. I would have to check to see if it was an actual real event that happened. But in the story, they're on the way on the train and they're celebrating, and like, you know, because Eleanor wants to be I think she wants to study to be. She studied to be a nurse, but she wants to be something bigger than that, an archaeologist or something like that. Something to do with rocks, I think it is. Study stuff like that, and to be in a university. So her and Corvina is on their way on the train to start a new life. But something happens on the way there, right, where Eleanor loses her life, to which Corvina takes on the name Eleanor, right? Because even sometimes Corvina forgets that she's called Eleanor, and when people's calling her, she doesn't answer. So they keep saying to her, "Do you not know your name? Do you not know your name?" And so as she's recovering from what happened, she has to keep reminding herself the name. Now, not only that, Corvina, aka Eleanor, seemed like a CV, and the CV is Eleanor's CV, and that's the one she uses to get in places. But obviously, because there's no Irish, no dogs, no black written in places, so she could not get jobs. She couldn't get work. Then she finally gets a job, seems like in a bookkeeping place. And that's where Mabel's father comes into play, right? And because Eleanor is like, I think she does certain stuff and they realize she's not who she says she is. You know what I mean? And there's also warning signs given to her about Mabel's father, but she doesn't see it, you know what I mean? But if you watch the show, I'm telling you, you ain't gonna be disappointed. To me, I feel they need to bring on the second season and let us see what's happened to Mabel, because I would love to know Mabel's backstory a lot more deeper with her husband, because how it reflects the mother's life. Because sometimes, right, when we're children, we do certain stuff like our mothers, but we don't realize unless the mother tells you, or unless you grow up seeing your mother doing certain stuff. Some children literally practices the same cycle as the mother without even realizing. Sometimes they don't even have to be around the mother to even practice to be like the mum in certain ways. And I like how people say, you're just like your father. I used to remember my mum telling me, you're just like your father. You're just like your father. This is kind of a reflection of what happens in the show. And there's also the story of why they moved to America. That's another story by itself, why Gibbs and Corvina moved to America. Okay, so if you are able to watch The Black Cake, and I'm glad I finally found the characters, because I've been looking everywhere for them, I couldn't find them. If you do get around to watching The Black Cake, or you get the book, you won't be disappointed. Okay, you'll not be disappointed, and I promise I won't say nothing more about The Black Cake unless you guys say, okay, let's talk about The Black Cake, or maybe some people has read it, and maybe how you see things, how I see things is different. So I'm going to leave it right there with Eleanor's story and Mabel's story, particularly because Mabel and Eleanor is a mother. What's it like? Right, they talk about star-crossed love or whatever. It's the fact that how later on the family meets. Now, in most cases, adoptive children, unless they really research themselves, they find out who they are. In most cases, it's very rare that happens. The fact that Maple gets a phone call to say who she is out of the blue, because she is a top-selling writer, so obviously it was easy to get her. But in most cases, it doesn't work like that. Most cases, it takes a long time for the adopted child to find their biological mother. And this is where I feel this is the part where this gives people who has been through adoption, especially during them times, a little bit of hope. You know what I mean? So it's a kind of little bit of hope, a little bit of tragedy, a little struggle, a little bit of this. And then there's hope in certain ways, however it comes in the story. So thank you, Passion Lisa, for coming, and thank you, Sonia Adventure, for coming. I know I went on. It wasn't meant to go on for a long time, but I've been looking for these characters for a long time and I couldn't find the characters. And I finally found the characters, and I'm happy I found the characters. So with that said, I'm going to leave it there. Please go and watch the adaptation. However, I'm not going to say the program is more than a program, it's more than a story, it's people's history all roll into one. Okay, the history of the diaspora. So it's a lot more bigger than what it is. So with that said, I would say have a good day, a good afternoon, and I think I'm gonna come back with another adoption story. It won't be the same one. I feel that this one needs to be told as well. Okay, and I will see what I can pull up or whatever, and we could take it from there. Now, with that said, I will leave it right there. Please comment in the comment section. Please like the video because it's important that you like the video. Okay, even if I do drone on a lot, I know I do. I repeat myself a lot. That's normal for me. I do that in normal life. So, with that said, I will see you in the next one. Take care and have a good afternoon, a good night. I was going to do Solar, but I don't know whether it's worth me doing Solar because I think Solar have enough people who's going to cover him anyway. I just thought I'd put out the news about Solar being in London. But with that said, I will leave it right there. Take care. Let me put on the...